So I'm Elliott Caldwell. I'm the Virginia and Washington, D.C. coordinator for the East Coast Greenway Alliance. I am based in Washington, D.C., but of course work across the district as well as basically all regions of Virginia that the East Coast Greenway goes through. And I think the three sort of major developments in 2022 that I've been really excited about, the first is historic investment by the Commonwealth of Virginia in terms of trail funding, $93 million in the passed and signed budget. And a big part of that is setting up a new Virginia State Trails Office through the Virginia DOT. But there's also going to be a ton of money going, from that $93 million going into new trail planning, development, as well as construction and such. So I think that number one is incredibly exciting. It's historic investment in trails in Virginia. A lot of that money will go to the East Coast Greenway, and then a lot of that money will also be used in other parts of the state to help build out other networks and local and regional trails. And we're just excited overall that we could be a part of building that trail budget up and getting an office to really support all of our efforts. We work with such great folks on the ground in cities and counties and regions along the ECG route in Virginia. And I know they're all really excited about having a state trails office that not only provides funding, but also provides best practices and sort of will help local communities and develop trails in their region. I'd say two trail segments that we designated this year in Virginia are really exciting would be the Chatham Bridge in Fredericksburg, connecting Stafford County into Fredericksburg, and then the Suffolk Seaboard Coastline Trail, Phase 2 in the city of Suffolk. And those two segments that opened are both wonderful to ride. They're now a part of our route along the East Coast Greenway. If you go to the map, they're both there. The Chatham Bridge was a Virginia DOT project. Really exciting to see them, including a 12-foot wide, I think they call it a multi-use side path on a major water, river crossing in the state. And that's really exciting. And I think we look forward to seeing other bridges done by VDOT along our route with similar multi-use segments to them. And the Suffolk Seaboard Coastline, the Phase 2, mile and a half or so of trail just due east of downtown Suffolk. And it's just a beautiful segment of trail that is just incorporated into our current route seamlessly. And again, will be a part of a broader Southampton Roads Trail in that region, connecting essentially from the Jamestown Ferry across to the cities of Suffolk, Chesapeake, Portsmouth, connecting to Norfolk, connecting to Virginia Beach, and then down towards the Dismal Swamp Canal Trail and heading towards North Carolina on our complementary route. So I think just a lot of movement in the Hampton Roads region, and the city of Suffolk opening that segment of trail, which is just a beautiful, beautiful trail to be on and sort of ride or walk or roll or run or what have you. And it would be great this time of year if you're down there in the fall. I'm sure it's a really beautiful place to be. So those are the three main main developments this year that we've been excited about. I would actually say this time of year is probably my favorite. In DC, for sure, the summers extend a little bit later, sort of past the end of August. So we still get really hot weather through early September. So those last 2 weeks of September and the first 2 weeks of October for me are really great times of year to get out and ride and walk. And it's also, I race cyclocross, and this is the time of year that cyclocross racing starts happening. So I'm oftentimes getting out there and training a little bit more, riding a little bit harder, maybe shorter rides, but maybe more intense rides, and having the getting out there in the ECG and being able to get to some of the parks and other trails segments that are connected to the ECG where I practice cyclocross. It's sort of a great time of year, just in general, to be outside, particularly in this area. So I think there's a couple exciting developments around DC and in Virginia in 2023. There's a small but very important bike lane project happening in Washington, D.C. that will connect two sections of the Metropolitan Branch Trail around the Brookland area. That will hopefully be happening in 2023, a protected bike lane project that will connect the section south of Franklin Street with the section by the Brookland Metro going north towards Fort Totten. And I believe that that's a project that will be completed in 2023. So while it's only, say, a quarter mile or so of a project, it's a protected bike lane project that will mean a lot, I think, to daily users of the ECG in DC. Another project that we're really, really excited about is the completion of 2 miles of multi-use trail along Mount Vernon Highway in Fairfax County. And this is a section of the ECG south of the Mount Vernon site, south of the Mount Vernon Trail, that connects to Route 1. And so once this it's a local project, it's a Fairfax County project, not a National Park Service project like a lot of the Mount Vernon Trail sections are. Once that 2 miles is completed, it will be essentially the East Coast Greenway will be complete multi-use trail all the way from the Fairfax Prince William County border up into DC when you cross the 14th Street Bridge across into Washington, D.C. itself. So it's a really exciting milestone for, I think, the development and the completion of the East Coast Greenway in Northern Virginia. And there's a ton of other projects that are going to be happening in Northern Virginia to be excited about, including a new crossing with the Potomac that's a little bit further down the road. But I think this project, this 2 mile project on Mount Vernon Highways is quite exciting. And then this is a little bit outside our region, my region, but it's certainly connected in that the two sections of the WB&A Trail are going to be connected. The Prince George's County, Maryland section and the Anne Arundel County, Maryland section are going to be completed by a bridge. That bridge had a groundbreaking, and I'm thinking it's going to be completed at some time next year. And we're just really looking forward to see the development of that bridge and connecting those two trails, which really kind of bridges the DC region, my sort of area, with the Mid-Atlantic region that Daniel Pascal, my colleague in Philadelphia, works on. So I'm really excited about the development or the continued development of that bridge and the completion of that bridge, which I believe is happening in 2023. And thanks so much for listening to me talk a little bit about the DC and Virginia sections of the East Coast Greenway. Really appreciate everyone taking the time, and look forward to hearing from some questions from the audience.